Welcome back to First Take. Let's get to a quick take on my Bears here. Caleb Williams indicated in a new book coming out this fall by Seth Wickersham that he wanted nothing to do with the Chicago Bears before being drafted in 2023. Carl Williams, who's Caleb's dad, said, quote, Chicago is a place where quarterbacks go to die. Stephen A. here now with this quick take. Look, there was a lot more context to this whole situation, but nonetheless, do you think this is more an indictment on the Chicago Bears and the way the franchise has been run, or Caleb Williams really not wanting to go to a place maybe he didn't know anything about?
It is absolutely an indictment against the Chicago Bears organization from the past. And now led by Kevin Warren, I have nothing but faith in them moving forward. I'm very, very confident that things are going to progress. I think they hired the right coach. And I think that right now, when you look at it, listen, Caleb Williams said this before he became a Chicago Bear.
Correct.
He didn't say this after. He's entitled to his feelings. His father's entitled to his feelings. I'm looking at this number right here in terms of the Chicago Bears, okay? When you think about the Chicago Bears, the Bears haven't had a first-team All-Pro at quarterback since 1950. Did you know that? Since 1950, over the last 60 years, only 2 Bears quarterbacks have made the Pro Bowl. Jim McMahon was on the team in 1985 and Mitchell Trubisky in 2018 as a replacement. Y'all have any idea how pathetic that is? I don't give a damn what Caleb Williams or his father said about not wanting to be a Chicago Bear. The Chicago Bears as an organization didn't deserve anybody having faith in them as a quarterback. Now, led by who they're being led by, okay, with Ryan Pohl, with Kevin Warren and the crew, with their new coach, Brad, I'm like, I have all the confidence in the world that they're moving in a forward direction, and Caleb Williams is a hell of a quarterback. He was slaughtered last year, okay? When you protect them and you have a better offensive mind, a coach in his team, Shane Waldron is gone now. That's not something he was confident. That's not somebody he was confident in
and he was
before
right.
He got there. He was right about that. There's nothing wrong with what Caleb Williams and his father had to say prior to being in that. They said this, but after arriving with the Bears, that's different. But prior to, you have a right to your damn feelings. They don't owe anybody an apology or an explanation or nothing. The Chicago Bears should be apologizing to the city of Chicago and to the National Football League for being so inept for so many years when it came to picking a damn quarterback.
Okay, first of all, his dad is trying to protect his son, so that I totally understand where he is coming from. But the Bears are literally the definition of insanity. They've done the same thing over and over. They draft a quarterback from a previous coordinator that becomes a head coach, then they fire the coach, and then they draft another quarterback. It happened with Mitch Trubisky and John Fox. It happened with Coach Nagy and Justin Fields. We saw it happen then, obviously, with Eberflus and Caleb Williams, and it just keeps recycling over and over. Of course, this is the narrative in Chicago until it's proven otherwise. It's absolutely ridiculous it's had to get to this. But maybe this is a wake-up call for the Chicago Bears. You can't act like this anymore.
First of all, they already woke up. They woke up by drafting him anyway.
They haven't done anything on the field yet.
But what I'm saying, well, listen, do you have a problem with the coach they hired?
I don't, but I'd like to see it come to fruition.
Do you have a problem with the coach they let go? Eberflus needed to go, right?
Yes.
Waldron needed to go, right?
Yes.
And now you got a new coach who, by the way, was considered a brilliant offensive mind. You got a quarterback that was sacked 68 times, 16 more than any other quarterback in the National Football League last year. Caleb Williams was slaughtered. So I'm looking at it and I'm saying they on their way up. I know Jayden Daniels was absolutely special with the Commanders, and I get that. And because of that, we looked at the struggles in Chicago that finished with a 5-12 record, and we said, damn. But there was a time in the season where Caleb Williams was showing us some things.
Yes.
He's got an NFL body. He can take some punishment, clearly. He's got a lot of heart. He can make every requisite throw. He can run with the football when necessary. I love the potential of this kid, and I don't mind at all that it's coming out what his father and what he felt about the Bears, because to me, it's going to put an emphasis on the Bears. We need to make sure to make him a liar, to make his dad a liar, by making sure that we do what we're supposed to do as an organization, which I am very confident they will do. I believe in the Chicago Bears organization right now. I truly do right now, because based on what they had in the past, it was a joke. I think it's much better now. I think they're moving forward, and I think that the best is yet to come. Caleb Williams is going to be a star in the NFL. You mark my words.
You know how you're nervous about your Knicks? I'm nervous about all these things you're saying actually coming to fruition for my Bears. It's been a lot of years of disappointment. Right. We'll see if it actually comes true.
He's going to be a star. Mark my words.
All right. We'll talk more about this in the fall, I'm sure. Speaking of the Knicks are not the only big ticket in town. Of course, tonight, Juan Soto makes his return to Yankees.
By which he became the #1 pick in the draft, jumped off the page yesterday. There was a quote in it from Carl Williams, Caleb's father, saying, "Chicago is the place quarterbacks go to die." There's a quote from Caleb himself, or a quote from Carl saying, Caleb wondered aloud to confidants, do I want to go there? I don't think I can do it with Waldron, which means the offensive coordinator Shane Waldron, who got fired during the season. He writes, Carl Williams went on to great lengths to try to circumvent the NFL draft, Seth wrote, wanting to give his son an opportunity to choose his future employer. And in case you're wondering, didn't that happen once before, Archie Manning and Eli? Yes, it did. And apparently Carl Williams met with Archie to try and figure it out. Ultimately, we know what happened. Caleb winds up being drafted by the Bears. But Dominique, as you read all this yesterday, what was your reaction?
Well, first, I immediately pre-ordered Seth's book because if these are his throwaway quotes, then whatever's actually in the book is going to be outstanding. And the second thing was, why would they talk to Seth? Like, it seems like it serves them no advantage, and it puts Caleb in a really tough situation where whatever goodwill he might have had, he's wasted it. And, of course, he has to play well, but I don't think that there's going to be anyone willing to extend him any leniency or excuses or blame the O-line or blame the coordinators next year. In part because he clearly him and his father came into the situation expecting the worst, and the worst happened. So I think Caleb has put himself, not that the pressure can get any higher on Caleb Williams, but he's put himself in a situation where no one's going to defend him if things don't go well, so he better play well.
I think the Caleb Williams case is something that's just going to be the start of many quarterbacks. He was the first NIL baby in the draft, in which from Oklahoma to USC, he took a giant payday, went with Lincoln Riley, got there. Talking to Cliff Kingsbury, who was his quarterbacks coach there at USC, Caleb was living a life as a quarterback that even the most decorated quarterbacks had never lived before. High-rise apartment in downtown LA, sports car, the money. Didn't need the NFL like maybe some quarterbacks had in the past. So I think we have to look at this with a different lens, as we saw it this year with maybe some of the stuff that was coming out with Shador and how he was dictating things. This is going to be the case moving forward, where a lot of these quarterbacks coming into the NFL might not have the, yes, sir, NFL, please do me as I'm so grateful. No, these guys, they can stay in college if they don't want to leave early because they're making enough money. And in this case, Carl Williams, the father, he was exploring all options, and they ended up leaving early and going to Chicago. But I don't fault them for saying, hey, we're going to explore everything because we don't have to go to the NFL yet.
He was exploring options that actually only existed in his own head. The idea that he could have circumvented the draft and been a free agent, it doesn't hold up. The rules say he would have had to go into this year's draft. And oddly enough, any team other than the Bears would have been allowed to take him if that had happened. So I guess if you really wanted to play it all the way out, you could have. Ultimately, he went, right? And part of it says that he got to Chicago and he went back to his dad and said, I think I can make it work here. So ultimately he said, basically, Dad, chill out. We'll take care of this. But yeah, it's definitely, this looks bad for everyone. Dominique is absolutely right that now Caleb Williams, every time he struggles, is going to be in the minds of Bears fans